What's so funny? What's so funny?
This is a story about love that crosses oceans and borders. She was a baby girl from Xi'an, China, an orphan who lost her parents before she even turned one. Her early life was quiet, uncertain, until one day in 2014, the orphanage received a life-changing letter, an adoption application from a couple in the United States. The moment they first saw her photo on their computer screen, they cried with joy. In that instant, they knew this was their daughter.
We are about to see our baby girl's face for the first time. Eyes.
She's so cute.
Your eyes. Perfect nose. That's what we waited for.
7.5 years. Now she's ours.
They began preparing their home with care and excitement, hanging her photo on the wall, filling the nursery with toys, gifts, and a cozy little crib. Their hearts were already with her across the sea. They gave her an English name, Delaney, a name that to them symbolized a new beginning and endless love. After completing all the paperwork, the couple set off from America. They first landed in Beijing.
Beijing Airport.
Huh?
Landing on the ground in Beijing.
After leaving Beijing, they arrived in Xi'an, eager to meet the baby girl they had already come to love from afar. In a world of strangers, they had never met, but were destined to become a family.
Moments away from leaving our hotel here in Shanxi to go get Delaney. We got here safely and the room's as ready as it can be and the paperwork's done and
The orphanage was quiet that day. On a nearby sofa sat the wife, her face tense, yet filled with anticipation. Her eyes remained fixed on the door, as if waiting for a moment that could change everything. At last, the little girl appeared. She held tightly to a pillow, one with a photo of the couple sewn onto it, a gift they had sent months earlier. She looked timid and unsure, quietly observing the unfamiliar surroundings with wide, searching eyes. A staff member gently took her hand and led her toward the couple. Her eyes darted around, full of hesitation and unease. The husband and wife pointed to the photo on the pillow and softly introduced themselves. The wife knelt down and gently placed a hand on the girl's shoulder, trying to help her feel safe. But for the little girl, everything still felt so unfamiliar.
你是负责这一块吗？
我临时在帮。
After leaving the orphanage, they got into the car together. The little girl turned away, curling up in her seat, her small body tight with tension. She was like a hedgehog bristling with invisible spines, warning the world to stay away. Her silence spoke louder than any cry. She would not speak, would not look at her parents. Her tiny brow furrowed, her gaze locked on the window. In her heart, there was no trust yet, no sense of safety.
Mommy and Daddy might have to move to a big city just so you can have traffic to look at. We don't have traffic at our house. We don't have traffic at our house. You want to eat that? You want to eat that? That's really yummy.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
The little girl broke down in tears, deep, aching sobs that seemed to carry every fear, every bit of pain she had buried inside. Her tiny body shook as she cried in her mother's arms, and when the tears ran out, she rested quietly on her mom's shoulder for a brief, peaceful moment. That day, she cried again and again, and her father could not hold back his tears either. His heart shattered, not just watching her cry, but feeling every ounce of her sorrow as his own.
One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000.
To complete her travel documents, the couple brought her to Guangzhou. Their days in Guangzhou felt like a joyful adventure. They took her to see the pandas, strolled through the historic streets of Shamian Island, played in parks, and bought little toys. The family laughed together, and happiness filled every step of the journey.
That's its squeaky time that's brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000.
Roll yourself.
When they were tired, they returned to the hotel. Even there, her father stayed by her side, playing, telling her gentle stories. That night, she finally let her guard down. Nestled in her father's strong arms, she drifted off to sleep, peaceful and safe. In that moment, she was no longer just a child being adopted, she was their daughter. After the paperwork was complete, they began the journey home. When the plane landed in the United States, a crowd of family and friends was waiting at the airport, holding flowers and signs, ready to welcome the little girl from far away. Delaney had finally come home. Back at the orphanage, her name was Wei Heme, a name that meant peace and beauty. It was the name that carried her through those early years, the quiet chapters before her story truly began. But now, it was time for a new beginning. From that moment on, she was Delaney, their daughter, forever.